Welcome to Uncommon Analysis. Happy New Year. It is January 1st as I'm recording this. It'll probably go live tomorrow morning on January 2nd, but I want to wish everybody who found this channel and found this video a Happy New Year, Happy 2025. We are now 19 days away, 18 if it's, depending if it, 19 days at least at the time of the recording, from Donald J. Trump being sworn in as only the second president to win non-consecutive terms to the White House. And I felt it be fit. We're about 2 months away from the election. It's been a little under 2 months since we had election day. And I wanted to talk a little bit about 2 months later why the left still can't seem to come to terms, at least a segment of the left, cannot come to terms with the results of this election. And we all know these people, right? And this is not meant to be, here's a bunch of people freaking out about the election results. I did do a video where I talk through some results, some reactions to election night, particularly one person, and I'll put a link in this video to it if you'd like to see it. But that's not the purpose of this video. The purpose is it's now been 2 months almost, and there's still a large segment of the left, Marxist, progressive left, Democrats, whatever terminology they want to call themselves, that just cannot intellectually deal with the fact they lost. Right, they just lash out at everybody. The nation's a bunch of misogynists. It's a bunch of racists, and they're still using these lines. And they're still just, if you're a Trump voter, oh my God, you're the worst person in the world. They find that out, they're going to attack you, especially in social media when they can hide behind a keyboard. And sometimes even face to face, right? These people can be very belligerent and very difficult to deal with because they just don't want to deal with the fact they lost. So I want to talk a little bit about that. Why is it so hard for them to deal with losses? Because losing sucks. Let's face it. It doesn't matter what you're competing in. When you lose a competition of any sort, it sucks. It's not fun. But 2 months later, you're still still spewing vitriol to the other side, and you're still, just raw emotionally. I want to talk about that because there is a reason this happens. There is an absolute reason these people are in the state they're in, and it's because they have to they cannot intellectually come to grips with the fundamental realities of what happened. They just can't. So let's play a little what if. So you are now a leftist. You have bought into everything the press has told you for 9 years about Donald Trump. He is the most evil human being ever to walk the planet. His administration, his 4 years were the worst of the worst for the country. He's evil. He's a Nazi. All this crap. January 6th was a complete insurrection. I mean, even though it wasn't, right? Calling it an insurrection is just insane. Yes, I'm not defending, believe me, I'm not defending the violence that happened on January 6th, and I'm not defending the people who destroyed windows and did other things. But the narrative around January 6th is total crap as well. Most of those people entered the Capitol and were peaceful. Most of those people were basically guilty of trespass, and that's about it. For example, they want to call it an insurrection, but yet insurrectionists just walk around and obey. Most of these people, not all, but most, are obeying the velvet rope. Right? It's an insurrection, but the majority of people watch the video. They're obeying the velvet rope. We're here to overthrow the government, but we're going to obey the velvet rope. Are you kidding me? Come on, guys. How about this? This is where, we see them actually entering the Capitol, right? They're actually let in. This door was open, and protesters walked. They didn't bust this door open. They found the doors open. They started walking. There's Capitol Police on both sides. I'm going to keep this just so you hear what the one Capitol Policeman says. There's Capitol Police right here, and they do nothing to stop them.
You can disagree with it, but respect yourself.
So I disagree with what I respect you said. They stood by and let him in. They didn't force that door open, guys. That door was open. They just entered it, and that's it. That's it. I mean, but they're not, no, I'm not defending the violence that happened on January 6th, but this idea that they're all, violent and that's how this whole thing was, it's just not true. It's just not true.
This is her grandma.
True.
You won't believe.
It's just fundamentally not true. Okay? Here we got, remember Grand Poobah guy, right? Grand Poobah guy? We find out
internal surveillance.
We find out after the fact he's actually just walking around the Capitol, escorted by police the entire time. He's walking around with his Grand Poobah hat on. He's got his face paint. There's cops. They're not arresting him. They're doing nothing. He's just basically walking around. He's being escorted. So, but these people believe all this stuff. So let's get back. So these people but let's just go back into their mind. They believe everything they've been told. They believe that January 6th was an insurrection. They believe that Trump is the worst thing on the planet. They believe he's a Nazi. They believe, concentration camps are returning, and the gas chambers are coming, and the rail trains are coming, and all that. They believe everything that the press and the left-wing media and the left have told you about Trump. All the debunked stuff, all the stuff we know is a lie. All the the Steele dossier, the Russia collusion, all the shit that we know now. You and I mostly know it's a lie. It was a lie. But they still believe it. They believe it all. So you're got to put yourself in that mindset. I believe that everything that was ever said about Trump that's negative, and everything the media ever said about Trump that was negative, 100% of it, I swallow like a $2 whore in a back alley on her knees. Okay? Boom. That's the way you are mentally. So Trump is the worst human being on the planet. Okay. Trump's the worst human being on the planet, and now we have a re-election. So we can't have Trump win, right? Trump's terrible. He's the worst person that could ever be. And so Democrats are noble, and they're great, and they're the best people that have ever lived. Aren't they so caring? Doesn't matter that Joe Biden's a habitual liar, that he's a plagiarist, that his brain is fried, that he can't complete a sentence. Doesn't matter that Kamala Harris, even though she doesn't have dementia, that Joe Biden's got dementia, he's got an excuse. Doesn't matter that Kamala Harris, who can't put sentence together that makes sense without word salad and doesn't have dementia, she's run a perfect campaign. She's the best person ever. She's going to win. She has to win. We're America. This is great. Trump's evil, and we are good. And we deserve it, and we will win. Okay? So Trump's the worst person in the world, and you believe that. You believe every lie that's ever been told about him. And you believe that Biden is utterly capable. He's not suffering from dementia or anything else. And Kamala Harris was running a perfect campaign. Let's face it, how many times have we heard that? She ran a flawless campaign. She's the most qualified person ever to run for president. And all the other lies. You swallowed both of those lies, right? So now you're coming up to election. How can you lose? How can you lose? We have to win this. It's going to win. All right. So then the election happens. And of course, you lose, and you lose badly. I mean, Trump wins. Trump wins. He wins every swing state, by most of them by very solid margins. It's not 2016. This was not a 10,000 vote, 40,000 vote election, right? A couple of thousand votes in a couple of states. This is not what happened here. He won huge. He won states by hundreds of thousands of votes, and he won them all. Democrats lose the Senate, and Republicans retain the House. So it's a complete and total victory for the worst administration that ever existed in your mind. How is this possible? How can this be? Right? How can that possibly be? These are the worst people on the planet. These are the worst things could ever happen. It's the worst thing in humanity. Yet, the American people, not only did Republicans win all that, they even won the popular vote by a few million votes, right? How can that be? Shouldn't be. Can't be. Yet that's exactly what happened. So now you have to sit back and go, well, how could this happen? Well, it can't be because Trump's good, because we know Trump's the worst person on the planet. And it can't be because our side's bad, because we know our side's awesome. So it must be misogyny, racism, whatever cope mechanism they got to throw out there, right? And some of these people still believe that because they cannot come to grips with one thing. This is the lesson here. This is what they cannot deal with. If you believe Trump is the worst person on the planet and his administration was an utter failure and the worst administration of all time, and yet the American people were given a choice between 4 more years of Trump or 4 more years of Democrats, the people chose Trump. So if Trump is so bad and the worst thing that ever happened, how is that? That means your 4 years you got following Trump were evaluated by the American public to be even worse. And that's the reality they cannot accept. These people cannot accept that, right? And this is how you deal with these people. If you have to deal with one of these people in your life, if you are forced to deal with them, I would suggest don't argue them facts. Don't argue them, what they were told and lies. Don't argue about the Steele dossier and the lies about that. Don't argue them the lies that were told in impeachment. Don't argue the lies that were told in January 6th. Don't even bother with all that. You don't need to. Okay? Because they're not going to hear you anyway, and they're not going to listen, right? Their mind's already absorbed the lie, and they're never going to walk away from the lie. So the easy way to deal with these people, if you have to deal with one of them in your life, is simply say what I just said. Okay, I'll concede everything they say about Trump. Concede it all. No matter how far-fetched, how outrageous, how much we know it's not true, how much you know it's not true, concede it all. Concede that Trump is basically worse than Hitler, if that's where they are mentally. Concede it. And then simply tell them, okay, well, if Trump is as bad as you say, and we had 4 years of Trump, and then we had 4 years of Democrats, how is it the American people, after 4 years, if the American people were given the choice between going back 4 more years of Trump or 4 more years of Democrats, how is it for them to have decided that they would rather have Trump, which is what they decided overwhelmingly, means that your 4 years, Democrats' 4 years, were even a bigger failure. As bad as you say Trump is, as bad as you think his policies were, as bad as you think his administration is, concede all. Don't argue them. Don't even bicker. Let them have whatever lunatic, fringe nonsense they want to spew. Let them have it. And it's fun to see this reaction. If Trump is as bad as you say, why is it the only way you can get there that the American people chose 4 more years of Trump after 4 years of Democrats having control and deciding we'd rather have Trump back is because you guys were even worse. And that's an unarguable, logical trap. And you want to see these people's heads explode? You want to see them just seethe in anger and completely lose it? You think Rob Reiner lost it on election night or the day after, before he went into rehab to deal with his TDS and the insanity? These people, they will blow up. They lose it. You can watch their brain short circuit when you do that to them. It's quite amusing. Concede it all. Let them tell whatever lie they want to tell about Trump. Let them throw whatever they want to tell about Trump. Let them concede all. But it's not worth the argument. They're not going to hear you anyway. You can be factually right, but they're not going to hear you. So just concede it. Well, if Trump is as bad as you say, that means for the American people to have chosen, we want 4 more years of Trump after 4 years of you guys, that you guys were even worse. And that's the truth. That's the truth. So use with caution, my friend, because their brains will explode. All right, guys. But anyway, appreciate you listening. If you enjoyed this sort of content, I hope you like, subscribe, click on the notification button, help the channel out. And again, Happy New Year. I wish you a wonderful day, and I am out.